Hi guys, so we are going to keep working with multiplication today, and we are going to keep renaming, and we're even going to multiply um, hundreds, and I'm going to show you what that means when we rename hundreds as thousands. So you've learned the pattern's still the same, we're just adding an extra step, okay? All right, so let's start. This is the first problem on page 289, but I just wanted to go slowly through this one so that you're understanding this well, okay? So, of course, we are going to have our multiplier, and by the way, when you're writing a multiplication problem, if you're just multiplying by a number with just a ones digit, make sure that that goes in your ones column. Later, you're going to learn to have your multiplier be tens and hundreds, that sort of thing too. So just make sure that you're in the habit of lining everything up. Since we're multiplying three groups, that three is just in our ones place, so that needs to go in our ones column. So just a little FYI. Okay, all right, so we're going to multiply three groups of 396, all right? And so remember what the pattern is. We're going to take our multiplier times our ones. So we do 6 times 3, and the answer is 18, right? And what goes in the ones column, the 8 or the 1? Okay, so think about what 18 is. The 1 goes in the tens, and the 8 goes in the ones, right? And remember to put your plus 1 so you're not multiplying that 1 because it's really, we've already done it, it's part of this number 18, right? So we put a plus 1 up in our tens. We're going to add it after we multiply, right? So our next step is to take our multiplier, 3 times our tens, 3 times 9 tens, and 3 times 9 equals 27, so we're going to have 27 tens plus one more 10. So 27 plus 1 is 28, so that's 28 tens. Do we squish 28 in our tens column? No. All right, so remember we put the 2 up in our hundreds place and our tens down in the tens place, right? So we have 28 hundreds, so we put the 8 here and the 2 up in the hundreds column. Okay, now we take our multiplier 3 times, and we're going to multiply 3 times our hundreds. So 3 times 3 is 9. Now I have to add 2 more at the end. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 10, 11, right? Okay, so now we don't have any thousands, but we would really need to rename this 1100s as 1100, right? We put our hundreds place down, but since we don't have any thousands right here, you could add the plus 1 and then just bring it down, or you can just write the answer down. Okay, so pattern's still the same. All right, we're just renaming our hundreds as 1,000, and we just bring that number down. So that's your next step that we are going to be practicing with. Okay, so that was number 1 on worksheet page 289. So I just wanted to take that a little bit slow, write it a little bit bigger, but I'm going to go over some with you just to repeat. I was talking to Kaylee the other day, and she said, Mrs. LaFave, you go so slow on the videos. She wasn't trying to be rude, but she was just letting me know that she was understanding it and she needed to go a little bit faster. And this is the benefit. You can always fast forward after you've done, you do the problem, then fast forward and see the answer. I'm just doing it slowly so those people that do need the extra time have it, okay? But I do want you to be checking your answers on the front because I'm only asking you to turn in the back side, but your front side is your practice, so you need to work on that, whether you're fast forwarding and checking yourselves or not, okay? All right, so we did number 1. Remember, it was 1,188. So let's do number 2. We have 3 groups of 245. So we're going to start with our ones, multiply 3 groups of 5 ones, so 3 times 5 equals 15. We put the 5 in the ones column. We put the 1 in the tens column because that's our 10. When we have 15, the 1 is the tens, and the 5 is the ones, okay? All right, so we have our plus 1 up there. Now we multiply 3 times our 4 tens, so 3 times 4 tens equals 12 tens plus 1 more 10, and that would be 13 tens. So 13 tens would be 103 tens. So we put the 1 up in the hundreds column, right? Okay, now we multiply our hundreds. 3 times 2 hundreds equals 6 hundreds plus one more 100, and that would give us 700. Okay, now boys and girls, I have seen a few mistakes on math errors where you're forgetting what goes up here and what goes down there. Don't get that mixed up because you'll get your answer wrong, okay? All right, so let's go to number 3. 423 times 5, oops, I said it wrong, 5 times 423, and we're going to take a multiplier and multiply by ones. Okay, so 5 times 3 is 15. Now, here's where I see a lot of people make a mistake. They know this is 15. They put the 1 here and the 5 up here. But think about what 15 is. It's a 1 in the tens place and a 5 in the ones place. So we're going to put our 5 in the ones place and our 10 up in the tens place. Okay, now we take our multiplier and we multiply times our tens. 5 times 2 is 10 tens plus 1 more. That would give us 11 tens, and that means we'll take 10 of our tens and change it into 100. Okay? All right, so now we multiply our hundreds. We are going to multiply 5 times 4 hundreds. 5 times 4 hundreds equals 20 hundreds plus 1 more. Okay, 20 hundreds plus 1 more is 21 hundreds. Okay, so that means that we would take those 20 hundreds and rename them as 2000s, right? So you can put a little plus 2 there if you'd like to. Okay. All right, so we would put 1 here, okay, because it was 2100s, so we're going to keep 100 here, and we changed our 20 hundreds into 2000s. Okay, so now, since we don't really have a thousands place, and this is just a plus 2, we just bring this down, okay? 2,115. You're not going to multiply it because it's already been multiplied as hundreds, and we just had to rename them and put that in the thousands place. So when you don't have a thousands place, you just bring the number down. Okay? All right, let's try number 4. We have 4 times 183. We start with our ones. 4 times 3 is 12 ones, and 12 is 1 10 and 2 ones. So put your 2 in the ones place and your 1 up in your tens place. Okay, now we say 4 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32. 32 tens plus 1 more 10 is 33 tens. So we put our 3 in our tens place and a 3 in the hundreds place. Now you multiply your hundreds. 4 times 100 equals 400 plus 3 more is 700. So our answer is 732. Okay, we're going to do 2 more in the next row. Let's see. Why don't we do let's do number 5 and 7. Okay, so number 5 and 7. So check them on the right side. Okay, so we start by taking our multiplier, multiply our ones. So 5 times 1 is 5. Now we take our tens. 5 times 3 is 15 tens. So we put our 5 in the tens place and a plus 1 in our hundreds place. Okay, now let's multiply our hundreds. 5 times 2 equals 10 plus 1 more hundred. So that's 11 hundreds. 11 hundreds. So we're going to take 10 of those hundreds and rename it as 1,000. And I put a little 1 up here so I could remember this is really a thousands, even though I don't have a thousands place. Okay? I don't do 5 times 1,000 because this is renamed as the hundreds that we already multiplied. So all I have to do now is bring the 1,000 down. Okay, 1,155. Okay, and let's do number 7. We have 4 times 862. Start with our 1s. 4 times 2 is 8. No renaming. And then our 10s. 4 times 6 is 24. So we put our 4 here and our 2 hundreds up in the hundreds place. And 4 times 8 is 32. Plus 2 more is 34. And I'm just going to bring down my 3,000s. Okay? 3,448. Okay, so if that pattern doesn't make sense, I would recommend rewinding, watching it one more time, and memorizing those steps. Okay, we don't have to do these two. Let's just move on to our word problems. Okay, so this multi-step problems, we need to figure out what exactly we're being asked. Okay, so James had $20 for shopping. He bought a pair of jeans for $12.95 and a t-shirt for $5.95. How much money does James have left? Okay, so the story is James started with $20. He went shopping. He bought a couple things. We need to know how much money does he have left. Now, I know that when we're figuring out how much do we have left, that's a subtraction problem, but I can't really subtract 3 numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two together because the shirt and the jeans are what he bought, which is going to come away from the $20. So if I add those up, then I'll get an amount to subtract from the $20. Okay, so why don't you get that started? Okay, so we have $12.95, and we're adding the shirt, which is $5.95. Okay, add your pennies. Don't forget to rename. Add your dimes. Don't forget your decimal point. Rename. And don't forget your dollar sign. Okay, so did you get $18.90 for his total? You should have. Okay, so $18.90 when we added those two together. Now, we know this is how much the clothes cost. We know that he paid with $20, so we just need to know how much does he have left. So we're going to do a subtraction problem. $20 minus $18.90. Okay, so $20 minus $18.90. We've got a lot of zeros to go through, okay? All right, so 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay, we don't have enough dimes to take 9 away, so we go to the dollar place. There are no dollars there, so we have to go all the way to the $10. Okay, they have 2 $10, so I'll take 1, leave 1 there. Now I have 10 $1, right? Okay, so now 10 minus 8. Oh, I forgot. I got to get some to the dimes because remember we haven't been able to subtract those 9 dimes yet. So take 1 of your dollars. So change your 10 to 9 and change 1 of those dollars into 10 dimes. Put your 10 dimes in the dime spot. 10 minus 9 is 1. And don't forget to line up your decimal point. Okay. And then subtract your dollars, so $9. $9 minus $8 is $1. And then we have 1 minus 1 is 0, so I'm not going to put a 0 there. I'm just going to end with my dollar sign. And $1.10 is his change. So James has $1.10 left. Okay, let's take a look at this last one here. Anita and her family traveled 457 miles to her grandmother's house. How many miles was the round trip? Now, boys and girls, have you ever heard that term before? Round trip. Let's underline that. Round trip. Round trip means you go and then you come right back. So it's like you draw a circle, right? So you go to school and you come back, even though it's at the end of the day. So a round trip means that way and back, okay? So let's see. She traveled 457 miles to her grandmother's house, okay? And they want to know what the round trip is. So it's going to be double that. The round trip would be double. So if she went 457 miles, let's multiply. So what would we multiply by if she's doing a round trip? She's doing there, which is 457 miles, and then back. So that would be 2 trips of 457 miles. So let's multiply. 2 times 7 is 14. The 4 goes in the ones place. The 1 goes in the tens place. Now we multiply our tens. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. 1 goes in the dimes. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 goes in the tens, and 1 goes in a plus 1 in the hundreds. Okay, now we multiply our hundreds. 2 times 400 is 800. Plus 1 more is 900. So we put our 9 down in the hundred spot. So the round trip was 914 miles. Okay, here's a little picture of Anita's house, the 457 miles to grandmother's house, and then we have to do another 157 miles to get back to Anita's house. Okay, so I would like for you to finish page 290. You're going to send in a picture. I just need the back side because we did the front side together. I know we skipped a couple of problems. You don't need to finish those. But guys, I want you to take a look at the review. Okay, so we're going to write the 2 closest tens. The given number is in between. Okay, so they give us this little sample here. They gave us 43. And we're looking at the tens, okay? So if this was on a number line, okay, what would the tens be where 43 is? 1 would be 40 on one end, and 1 would be 50 on the other. Okay, so we're thinking about the tens, okay? And the tens will have a 0 in the ones place, okay? So let's look here. So 37 is in between 30 and the next 10 would be 40. Okay, so give that a try. You've got a couple patterns here. So you're thinking, okay, if I went back to the nearest, or to the lower 10 or the upper 10. So think about that, all right? So think of the number line, what your tens would be, okay? So give that a try and send in a photo of page 290. Thank you.